Welcome to Evolved Sun. I'm your host, Matt Finch, and in this episode, you're going to learn how to live consciously in a service to others manner from my greatest mentor, Carla Rueckert, who passed away several years ago and who used to be the trans-telepathic channel for the raw material Law of One Contact. The last episode, we talked about service to others and polarizing on the positive path by reading a passage from the Raw Contact Resource series by Gary Bean. And in this episode, I'm going to read a few passages from Carla Rueckert's most recent book, Living the Law of One 101, The Choice, which was published in 2009. Alright, so here's the section that I want to cover in this episode. Quote, the service to others path of polarity. To start this section off, there is a quote by Kuo, what Carla Rueckert used to call a quote, that reads, what you have, in terms of your ability to serve at this time, is primarily your own deepening awareness of what it is to choose so deeply that the rest of your life becomes a joy, what it is to choose so completely that there is no longer the need to spend time questioning whether faith is the answer, whether service is the answer, or whether one particular kind of service is better than another. When the choice for service to others has been made absolutely, there is a knowing that comes. It is a knowing that transcends planning. It is a knowing that includes the awareness that you really do not have control over anything but your own desires, your own will, and your own persistence. And the rest of this reading is going to be from Carla Rueckert. Magnets have a north or positive pole and a south or negative pole. We as human beings have the same metaphysical setup, according to the Confederation. They call the north or positive pole the service to others polarity. They call the south or negative pole the service to self polarity. Interestingly, light moves from the south to the north pole. The south pole attracts it via gravitation or attempted absorption, and the north pole receives and radiates it. We can find instruction in pursuing the service to self polarity by studying the literature on so-called black magic. According to the Confederation, choosing and following either path of seeking, the positive or the negative path, to increase one's polarity, will work for graduation from planet Earth's density of choice. The only gambit which does not lead to graduation is not to choose either polarity to pursue. The Confederation is a group of beings which are service to others polarity. I am also of service to others. Therefore, if you happen to want to polarize in service to self, you shall need to look elsewhere for insight as to how to proceed. If you are interested in following the path of service to others, read on. Religions generally teach us to choose the service to others polarity. However, the symbol of a crucified Savior does not inspire in most people the desire to go and do likewise. While the Christ's example of unconditional love to the point of death makes an excellent symbol for the concept of unconditional love, it is hard to translate into our actions and choices in everyday life. The Confederation describes the path of service to others as a path of forming and maintaining a positive attitude which informs all our decisions. The heart of this attitude is the awareness that the universe is an entirely unified, interactive, and living being made of absolute love, of which each of us is a part. As we weave our way through the decisions of our day, our attitude is oriented to seeing as broad a view of situations as possible, so that we can more accurately evaluate whether or not ethical principles need to be involved in our choices. We have chances to make such choices every day. When we are on the road, if we see that someone needs to enter the stream of traffic and we brake a bit and gesture the person in, we have just put ourselves out in order to be kind to another human being. This is a service to others' choice. When we are in the store with a big cart full of groceries and we see someone with 2 items in their hands and wave them on ahead of us in line to pay, we have just put ourselves out in order to be kind to another human being. This is a positively polarized choice. When we are at our dinner table and there is only 1 roll left in the basket and we hand it around the table instead of grabbing it for ourselves, we know as we watch someone else take that roll that we have just put ourselves out in order to be kind to another human being. Being of service to others can be tricky. Take the example I offered just now about letting someone in traffic. It is not black and white. A savvy driver does not let anyone into the stream of traffic if the light ahead is green and there is a solid line of traffic behind him, as it will make too many people behind him on the road miss that green light. However, when the light ahead is red, there is no way those behind you can move ahead anyway. so it is fine to let in other people. An interesting feature of taking either path of increasing polarization is the cornerstone importance of the first choice for service to others or service to self, which you make with full awareness of the significance of such a choice. If you have put your whole self behind this first choice, it is as though you had dug out and leveled the base of your metaphysical house, made the forms and poured the concrete for its foundation. Now that your foundation choice has been made to be of service to others, you have made your first move in the game of life. The remainder of your incarnation is your allotted time to continue to play this game of life you have begun. Each consecutive service to others ethical decision which you make doubles your positive polarity. If you falter and make a service to self choice, you have to begin another series of consistently love-filled choices in order to polarize further. In making this choice for the first time, you are not only choosing to be of service to another in that particular instance, you are choosing how you want to approach life for the rest of your time here on earth. This first choice is to spiritual seekers what baptism is within the Christian church. You are dedicating the rest of your life to following the path of positive polarity. A lot of preparation for this first choice is mental and emotional. There will always be some inner resistance to each service to others choice which you make. There will always be some reason why such a choice is not convenient for you. In order to tackle each choice of an ethical nature with the feeling of, this is the right thing for me to do, you will need to go through the process of coming to see the bigger picture. That picture which is at the level of an overview of your life here on earth. It is the overview belonging to the game board. When you see your life as a whole from beginning to end, as you would a symphony or a poem, you become able to get outside of the constant stream of daily details that take up your mind's attention. You become able to see the point to choosing, in general, how you want to behave during this lifetime. You can then set a rule or ethical standard of life for yourself, which is like the compass within, steering you through the chaotic seas of everyday life. Despite my own choice of service to others, I do not wish to persuade you to follow this path or indeed to do anything, and therefore I cannot begin to overcome any resistance you may have to making the choice. This matter is entirely up to you. My job is to make a report on these Confederation principles, the benefits of making your cornerstone choice and creating a contract with yourself to continue to polarize with each succeeding choice are not obvious at the beginning. I hope you may acquire a taste for it as you experiment with these ideas. One thing that is very attractive to me about living consciously in a service to others manner is the amount of clutter such an approach removes from my thinking. When my mind is full of situations and conversations, lists of things to do and people to chauffeur, meet or handle, I can be trapped in shallow waters indeed and can quickly find myself bored and weary. When I move to my point of view, to the consideration of service to others and being kind and compassionate, my world enlarges and shifts rather substantially. The things of this world fall away, and I know why I am doing the things I am doing. I like that a lot. This choice is the whole point of this density in general, and of our earthly life in particular. If you look at the evolution of mind, body, and spirit, you can see that we begin this life as small and helpless animals. We are then tamed and trained in the course of childhood. As we enter our teenage years, we have already made many choices and have had evolutionary experiences. No longer are we animals. We have become human beings, although not necessarily ethical human beings. Without some realization of the central importance of seeing ourselves as ethical beings, there is likely to be minimal progress made during our lifetime. In making this choice, and in continuing to choose lovingly, we are not only creating an acceleration of the pace of our spiritual evolution, we are also preparing ourselves for the graduation day that will come when you die a natural death. Would you rather graduate at the end of this lifetime and move on to the density of love? Or would you rather spend 76,000 or so more years having one incarnation after another in another Earth-like environment while working with these same lessons and playing the same game? Most of us would choose to graduate. The key to graduating is to achieve sufficient polarity to move on. Let's put this in numbers. According to the Raw Group, graduation in positive polarity is achieved when we have a score of 51% service to others or higher. In other words, if we are thinking about serving others more than half of the time, we have made a score that allows graduation in positive polarity. To graduate in negative polarity, the requirement is that we have a score of 5% service to others or 95% service to self. It is quite a bit harder to graduate in service to self, since our love of self and concern for the self must be so pure. Those who will not graduate at all have scores of somewhere between 6% and 50% service to others. It is the easiest thing in this world to stay within those percentages. To score 51% or higher, or to score 5% or less, takes an awareness of the game and the decision to play this game, which creates a rule of life or contract with yourself that you will boost your score to over 51% or under 5%. Alright, and that concludes this episode. If you're anything like me, you absolutely love Carla Rueckert and all that she has done for humanity and for seekers such as myself. And if you've never heard about Carla Rueckert before, I highly recommend checking out some of her videos or books on the landlresearch.org website. And with that being said, thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.